Hi, everyone. Welcome to She-Hulk. I'm Eric. Just kidding. I made that joke last time. Eric's on a boat right now, so I'm hosting. My name's Bailey. Zach, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Zach Wilson.
Nice.
Thank you for having me.
Nailed it.
I'm on this side of the camera, and it's a strange place.
Is it okay? Is it working for you? Are we capturing your good side?
It's still TBD.
Okay. And of course, we have Kim calling in from the UK. Kim,
Calling
it is,
in.
of
Hastings.
course. Kim, before we even get going, it's evening time there. Do you have a drink prepared for us, or?
Oh, Bailey, I'm so glad you asked. I do. The cocktail this week, look at this glorious concoction.
That's beautiful. What is it?
Well, I went off piste last week. I had an appletini, which was Daredevil's, the drink he bought for Jen in the bar. This week is a tequila sunrise,
Wow.
which is off my list. So yeah, it's very strong.
Good. I love that for you. That's amazing. So I think that's appropriate for the finale, which certainly felt like something that was intended to be watched with a little bit of tequila. I know I did. How about you, Zach?
I was sober
Oh,
at the
okay.
Time.
No fun, but all right.
I'm not going either way now, but
So the finale was Whose Show Is This? It was written by Jessica Gao, directed by Kat Coiro. I hope that I'm pronouncing the name correctly because I always feel bad when I pronounce it incorrectly. Someone in the chat, let me know. What did we all think of the finale, Kim?
Well, I mean, first of all, I like to call her Cat Poirot, like the Belgian detective Poirot.
Oh, you
but
know,
without
it's probably
Pete, but-
that.
I'm interviewing her tomorrow, so I don't know, maybe I'll find out.
Hope so.
Yes, well, first, I said first of all, so second of all, I'd like to point out that I called that Bruce was off to Sakaar to meet his son, and that happened. And then good points. Like, there are good points and bad points about this episode for me. I loved the throwback to Bill Bixby's The Incredible Hulk as we're seeing here. And this is this pose that Mark Ruffalo's doing is actually the Bill Bixby pose from that segment of the opening sequence, which was cool. 70s Mark Ruffalo is my favorite Mark Ruffalo. I loved Nikki and the Mother Pugger again in this episode. Would have liked to have seen more throughout the entire series of these two. And I also loved that She-Hulk got her own hallway fight sequence.
Yes, finally. She earned it.
She did earn it. She proved she was more than a match for Daredevil in it. And I loved the doubling down on the highlighting of misogyny.
Yes.
But the whole breaking of the fourth wall stuff, I was less convinced by. I felt quite ambivalent about it. I felt that, it was obviously a really bold thing for them to do. But ultimately, I felt that it felt like the entire series has been one long practical joke on the audience, not just the trolls, the entire audience that likes to speculate, that likes to... likes the big spectacle of superhero stuff, and it just kind of put the boot in, and I felt a little bit kicked, I think is the word. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, a little
She
like
kicked
Charlie
the-
Brown with the football. There,
Yeah.
We kept wanting it to be something, and they kept being like, "It's not." Haha. Zach, what did you think of the finale? Did you also have mixed feelings?
I think that's really it's such a bold choice to do this for the big finale. It almost feels like this is something that's like season 3 after they've been in it for a while, and they're like, now we're gonna go real crazy. After watching it, I've watched it twice now. It was like the first time I was like, I don't know about that, and the second time it grew on me. I was like, that was fun. I enjoyed that. And it's sort of how I felt about the fourth wall breaking all season, which is that it's like every time they do it, it's really funny, and I enjoy it. But as an overall thing, I didn't know if it was needed for this character. Mm-hmm. And I say this when I love She-Hulk. She's one of my top 5 Marvel characters in the books, especially. But the fourth wall breaking was never part of that. It was the idea of somebody with a mundane job who just like can be a superhero on the side, and that aspect of her in this episode got sort of sidelined, and it was like a secondary plot to the fourth wall breaky stuff, which was all hilarious and real fun. But I wanted more of the lawyer stuff.
See, but in a way, it really did come back to that, because one of my favorite parts was the big Portal reference GLaDOS fight with Kevin Feige himself. Turns out to just be a beautiful machine in a big empty room that looks exactly like the ending part of Portal. Like, exactly. Like, that reference was for me. It was so fun. And she lawyered it. Her big final fight was as Jen, the lawyer. And, you know, she finally came through and won a case when it really mattered. And I know she's won cases before, but this was the big one where she really had to get her shit together, and I think she did. And so that felt good to me. It felt like a good point, like a good conclusion to a character arc where like the entire time she's just wanted to be comfortable being Jen the lawyer, and She-Hulk was sort of, again, that like person who was sort of overshadowing her, and the fact that she gets to like win the day by being Jen the lawyer, I thought was a really nice like ending to that character arc. But I will say that I felt that as great as the fourth wall break was, it did sort of leave several plots hanging. I was disappointed with Titania, where she shows up and it turns out she wasn't anything. She was just doing an influencer bit, and that's all. And we have no reason for her to be specifically going after She-Hulk, really. And that was, I felt, kind of a disappointment to me. And Kim, you've been calling that from the start, right?
Yeah, that was the thing. You know, they painted her as this character that was jealous, essentially, and this whole kind of thing that I've talked about before, where it, on the one hand, is decrying misogyny, quite rightly, but on the other, they are playing into tropes. And here's a character that they didn't end up making more complex or side with her. They didn't make them team up. They didn't. You know, she just remained this two-dimensional influencer character who was essentially jealous of Jen.
Mm-hmm.
It was a shame. It was a real shame.
Yeah, I agree. I think they could have done a lot more with her. Another thing that happened, that they brought up something and confirmed that something happened that I had been like, that would be bonkers, is that Josh stole her blood while they were making love, I guess. I don't know the practicalities of that. I mean, like, again, I'm not here to kink shame anyone, but
I feel like it was implied that he did it while she was asleep.
How?
But like, I'm not saying.
Sorry, everyone at home. How?
I did have the question of like, would she not wake up from a poke in the back?
I feel like I would.
And that wasn't intended to be a euphemism, but then Kim laughed, and I'm like, oh, that was a euphemism. Yeah.
It felt like a euphemism, right. Yeah.
I mean, I suppose it depends on how many tequila sunrises she'd had, or applefinis, maybe.
Kim, they'd been dating. They probably weren't that drunk at all.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter anyway, because they've erased the whole blood arc here. So he didn't take her blood in the end because it no longer exists as a thing in the MCU. So they never presumably had sex. So there you go.
Perfect.
Well, so that's a question, like bigger MCU question. The blood, I think it was still taken, right? They just erased the Todd part of it? Or is that still out there to be used by like the leader in Captain America?
Yeah, what's even canon anymore is the real question here. I think we can all agree, though, that another character arc, which we've been following this whole season, Jen looking for love, wrapped up in a fairly canonical seeming way. How do we feel about this Matt and Jen pairing?
Oh, I'm all about it. I know I listened to last week's episode of this show, and you two were not feeling it. You're not feeling the vibe between these two.
Well, no, I didn't feel that there was actually a lot of chemistry between them, but I'm totally happy whether they feel their chemistry or not, or whether we feel it or not, for them to hook up, because, you know, they're two grown adults. But it does seem now like they're a bit more than just people who've hooked up. He's there for the week. I don't know whether it means they're actually dating or they're just friends with benefits.
He's met her whole family. You don't introduce a friend with benefits to your whole family.
They got way more intimate in this episode than last week's episode.
Absolutely. Although I just to that point, with last week's episode, I said I hated the Daredevil costume, and that was seeing it at night. Seeing it in the daytime makes me hate it infinitely more. It looks so stupid. I'm sorry, Disney costume designers. It looks awful. I hate it so much. I'm sorry. He's a very handsome man, and he's just not pulling that off. He's just not.
I wonder if they've done that on purpose to troll you, Bailey, to make you say that. So
yeah,
they can then lampoon it in
They're
the
like,
next
we're
series.
going to make it even more yellow.
Yeah.
It does, like, there's the little white strip in the chin. You can't see it in this angle, but, like, when he moves, there's just, like, a white strip in the chin.
Like a
and
bicycle
it's, like,
helmet?
Yeah. And I like that people all, like, know Daredevil in this world. Like, Pug in that moment, are they dating? Are they a thing? He was so excited.
Well, there's celebrities in this world.
That's
They've
true.
established that. So it would be like if you showed up and two people from two entirely different shows that you really love were apparently dating. You're like, you would have a moment.
Does he have Daredevil? I think he had Daredevil sneakers in that little painting that they did.
Oh my God. Having his own merch is so tacky.
No, not Daredevil. Pug.
Oh, okay. You meant Daredevil had Daredevil sneakers. I did not see that.
Because they have Pug's like sneaker collection in that one shot, and it's got like so many things. I think Daredevil was in there.
I really hope that Daredevil has his own sneakers. He would go up in my estimation if he did, definitely.
Absolutely.
I love
Fine.
it when
It would
rock
be
fans
funny.
wear their own T-shirts on stage. It's my favorite thing.
We have
So
very
it's the same
differing
thing.
opinions. It's fine. We don't have to agree on everything, Kim.
He's trying to run a small business. You got to license out the rights to like image rights. Like get a little bit, you know, he does his one for them, one for you thing. The one for them was
Sure.
sneakers.
I will say, I do feel like ending on the Daredevil's now her boyfriend, it seems, note did make it seem like the point of the show was just let's find Jen a man, which I don't totally love. I wish it had happened, but maybe in less of a this is how the show ends. This was the most important thing like moment. You know what I mean?
Well, that was before the courtroom, the steps, right? When she walks up the courtroom steps.
Yeah.
Because they ended on her going into the courthouse to be like, I'm back.
No, that's fair. No, wait, did she? Oh, I
No, I'm not
just rewatched it. I'm doubting
Somebody in the
myself.
chat knows. Remind.
Yeah, no, it ended with that. You're right. But it was
but
like
it
the
also-
real scene.
It does, but it also ends with her in a relationship as one of the plot threads tied up. It's, you know, she's now happy. She's sorted. She has reconciled these two personalities within her, and now she's happy with herself. She can love another, and Daredevil
yes.
enters her life.
Well, I'm really happy for her.
I just love the two of them together. It's adorable.
They're
and
cute.
like I think they have good chemistry, and like she just has such a magnetic presence. Like when she's smiling, when she's happy, you're just like, I want everything to be right for you.
Stop being mean to her, everybody. Look at her. She's just so cute. She's like pocket-sized. You just want her to be happy. Speaking of people who don't want Jen to be happy, was anyone surprised that Todd turned out to be Hulk King? Zach, what did you think?
I was surprised only because I thought he was such a little weenie that I didn't think he would have the power to be Hulk King. Like I assumed he was be like a lower down part of this group.
I have so many pieces of news for you about websites like these.
Oh, I am not saying it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I feel like he's just like the richest weenie, you know? Like,
That's fair.
Kim, were you surprised at all?
No, I think we talked about it last week, and we suggested that would possibly be an option, and that's what happened. But as I say, you know, I don't know how much of this has been erased now, because as far as I'm aware, the whole blood story has been erased by Kevin. So, did did he even go on a date with Jen?
Yeah, at what point are we supposed to just act like which parts are we supposed to act like didn't happen, you know? I feel like that is the question here for sure. I was just looking at my notes. I had it in my brain what I wanted to bring up. Oh yeah. The video of her dancing, was that just behind the scenes footage from Orphan Black? Because I paused and I was looking at it and she was just in a full Orphan Black costume. I feel like it was the dance scene. Like she's dressed like her Orphan Black character. And I get it was also probably a reference to the AOC video that happened. But I think that was just from Orphan Black. Did y'all watch that show?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh my God. So
not enough of it.
This is why I need Eric. I would have said that and Eric would have been like, oh my gosh, I think you're right. And then he would have laughed and went like this.
Well, this is one of those, like, who owns Orphan Black? How much money did Disney want to spend on footage versus just putting Tatiana Maslany in some glasses?
It's Canadian. What's the exchange rate these days?
I mean, it would make sense in a show that is all about breaking the fourth wall. It would totally make sense to use that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do feel like, ultimately, fourth wall break being the, like, concluding like final act of this after doing fourth wall breaks all season really does sort of retroactively justify all of them. And I do feel like I loved that like they brought back that there wasn't good cell service at Emil's like ranch. Like that turned out to be a thing that was a problem in the finale that I wasn't expecting it to be. So I guess the bottle episode did have a point after all. Great. What did we think of Abomination, speaking of? Kim, what did you think of abominationing out? Were we seeing that coming?
Well, yeah, I thought that he would become Abomination for some reason in the finale, but I didn't expect this. I'm assuming he didn't really realize what their convention was. You know, I'm assuming it's like the and we mentioned this yesterday, funnily enough, the serial convention in Sandman, which is about serial killers, and so it's secret to everyone outside. I assumed it was something like this, and though he'd been hired to make a motivational speech in his own retreat, he didn't actually know what the content of that convention was going to be.
Yeah, when I was rewatching it this morning, like the first time I saw it, I was like, what a betrayal. But then I was rewatching it and he was just giving the vaguest of statements. Just like
he manages to say nothing.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Do we think he deserves to go to prison for that?
I mean, he broke his parole, but probably not. Like, he was just being like, you guys did great on your project. Whatever that project was, you achieved your goal.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that, like, the breaking of parole was pretty bad. But I think as we've learned from Jen, you can't keep that inner Hulk/Abomination tied down. You gotta let your inner Hulk/Abomination be free.
You gotta let it out. You gotta let it breathe every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well,
exactly.
With Wong on his side, he's all right. He's not stuck in that cell, is he? As we saw in the post-credit sequence. And I was intrigued that you mentioned his terrible Wi-Fi at the retreat. Why is he so interested in Wong's Wi-Fi at the Kamartage?
Great point.
Which is a question he asked about. Maybe he can't afford to have Wi-Fi at the retreat. Maybe that's a thing.
I don't know. You got that much land. Surely you can afford a couple Wi-Fi hotspots, right?
Maybe he's just like, I tried living that lifestyle. It didn't go my way. I'm done. Give me all the internet. I'm going to live on the internet from now on.
Yes, according to Renard City Update channel, they very much liked that he was just genuinely taking a gig. And I agree. I think that, speaking engagements are a great way for people in that position to earn money. And it seems like he really had it down.
I did have one question that's like maybe overanalyzing, but Wrecker is there while all of Intelligentsia is there.
Right.
In theory, Wrecker was part of Intelligentsia, right? Because he and the wrecking crew, Intelligentsia.
Yes.
Look, I go for coffee.
I know, it's pronounced like the coffee place. I was saying before. I was like,
it
just makes me want coffee
Intelligentsia?
every time.
Okay.
Yes. I love Intelligentsia, though. I think it adds a little bit of flair to it.
I feel like
I thought
Todd
Zach
totally
knew
says
something.
intelligentsia. What was that, Kim?
I thought Zach knew something we didn't.
No, I
About
don't know. Maybe I'm snooty too. I can accept that about myself.
Yeah, I love it, frankly. I think that that's great.
But Wrecker would have been part of that organization, no? Because
Yeah.
he was hired by
Yes,
Todd.
he was, but in the retreat episode, they made it clear that he
He was out.
reformed and he saw the error of his ways.
So he just didn't
Yeah.
see any of these 100 people that he knows personally come to.
Well, I wonder how involved how much they allowed him to know, at
That's
his
true.
level as a hired thug. Maybe they just hired him, to take the syringe, get a blood, and he knows no more, and he knows nobody else.
So he's not a member. He was a hired hand.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, let's go with that because that's way cleaner
Yeah,
than the
we did
now
learn
we
the
got to do a
difference.
bunch of math.
Yeah, that's why Daredevil taught us the difference between henchmen and thugs. That was
Yes.
why it came back.
Okay. One of the wrecking crew was there,
Yes.
hiding in the background with a helmet.
Well, he was already on the lot that day.
Yeah.
So, let's move on to I believe it's time to move on to our AMA. Yes, Ryan? Ryan's not in the room. Ryan has a puppy right now. He's taking the puppy out. So we're just freestyling over here.
It's
just
very
Calvin
adorable.
Ball.
It's totally reasonable to be distracted by the
The
puppy.
cutest dog I've ever seen. Almost as cute as Matt and Jen. No, way cuter, honestly. This is a really cute dog. Y'all don't even know.
Oh yeah, and Sunny Boy here.
Oh yeah, we saw Scar. Let's not leave out a discussion of Scar, who is apparently both the Lion King character and Hulk's child.
But it's spelled differently. He's from space, so it's 2 A's pronounced like it's only one.
Oh, of course. It would be super
Scar.
embarrassing if 2 characters in the Disney canon were both named Scar. That's just unacceptable.
Gar from Sakaar. But yes, I mean, I did say, I think from episode 1 that this was where I thought Hulk had gone. I think why he'd gone to Sakaar was to meet his son, and here he is. And Kevin was saying in this episode and got cut off, that they had intended for Hulk to come back and introduce, I think he uses the word introduced, is that right? And then nothing, because he gets cut off.
Bring that puppy. Let's go, Ryan. Ryan's on camera and he's got a puppy.
Did you guys
He's
see
got
my
his
Slack?
puppy.
I sent you the live chat.
Oh.
I've been
We're
watching.
gonna talk work stuff. Say hi to Keiko,
Oh,
everybody, the
wow.
newest screen junkie.
This
What
is
are we-
Keiko.
how are we supposed to focus?
Hi,
I know.
Keiko.
No work will get done today.
Oh my god.
She's busy doing all the things I don't want her to do, so I'm not in the room right now.
Keiko. The thing is, I would love Keiko to be on the panel, but she keeps talking about how she doesn't like how woke Disney's gotten.
She
so
felt triggered by intelligence. Yeah. Are you gonna pee on the desk? No. I'm gonna
Don't pee on the
Don't pee on the
desk.
This is Daddy's
Is it your
livelihood.
fur baby from Sakaar?
All right, say bye, Keiko. You'll see her a lot more on streams when she can handle herself.
Keiko.
And yes, live chat is next.
I saw.
Can we just say one detail, because you were talking about Kevin,
Yes.
that I loved is that the robot is wearing a baseball hat.
Yes. Oh my God. That was so good. I honestly, that was, I think, my favorite part of the episode, definitely, was Kevin showing up. I felt rewarded for playing Portal a million times. I felt rewarded for knowing that Kevin Feige always wears baseball caps. And I got to enjoy, I felt rewarded for demanding that Jen be a good lawyer all season, because I just knew she could do better, I knew it. I'm proud of her.
Breaks into that writer's room like, hey, what is this laziness?
Yes.
That writer's room was interesting because I took from that it was mainly women, and they were reflective of the actual writing team. There
Yes.
were, 2 of the characters had names in the credits that were the names of 2 of the writers, Jessica Gao, who's a showrunner as well, and Zeb, I think.
Yeah, I think that's Zeb there, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And but with it being predominantly women, and it's kind of like they're all echoing. The one guy is talking, he's saying it's this way, it's this way, it's this way, and they're all there to nod and agree. So the point is, I guess I take from that, is that they're saying that even if you've hired women writers on these shows, they still have to kowtow to the men, this being a show about misogyny. But this is She-Hulk is the show. And I'm very confused about the point they're making. Are they saying that we felt this as women on the show, that we also had to bow down to the men amongst the crew?
It certainly read like that. That I got that statement from that scene. Whether it's this show or just like the industry as a whole, which is a very accurate depiction of writers' rooms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's now that we've watched the whole season, overall thoughts. Let's break it all down. Do we have a favorite moment of the whole season? A least favorite moment of the whole season? Y'all know mine. How would we rank this on the MCU television show's power rankings?
Oh man. The ranking is hard. I hate ranking. I just I enjoy it or I don't enjoy it.
Zach, you're supposed to yes and.
But this is higher up for me because I just had a good time watching this show. It's just fun. I think my favorite, probably my favorite moment as a fan, the walk of shame, Daredevil's walk of shame. I love their little cute romance. Everything from the light fix, when they're on top of the lily pad, you're good. When they bump shoulders through the walk of shame is just this is the rom-com superhero thing I wanted for years.
Absolutely. Kim, did you have a favorite moment?
I mean, there's no specific moment, but any time Pug and Nikki were on screen, either together or individually, and especially Pug, I think, whose delivery, that Josh Segarra, who plays Pug, his delivery was just spot on every time. Very funny. They both made me laugh. They were both good characters, and did a lot with not a huge amount of screen time. And I would have liked to have seen more of them. And as far as the show ranks for me, it's somewhere down the bottom end because it was so hit and miss. There were moments that I thought were really, really good, and sometimes it was really funny, but and I've said this before, that I don't think that the comedy was consistent enough. I think sometimes it was contrived and stereotypical. It was not funny. Sometimes the series sagged in the middle of those 3 episodes leading up to the final 2 that didn't hit for me. And so it is not my least favorite. It comes in before The Falcon and the Winter Soldier and What If at the end of my list.
That's fair. I think that's a fair assessment. I think for me, I'd like to rank it pretty high, but that's just because other Marvel shows have really disappointed me in the past. Loki lost a lot of points for me with that finale. WandaVision kind of seemed to not know what it dropped the premise so quickly that I was But with this, it was so fun. I feel like Hawkeye is my favorite one so far, weirdly enough. That one was so solid. That was MCU doing a Die Hard, and I loved it. But this one, I feel like it's up there for me because it was a fun watch that I enjoyed. But I agree with you, Kim. It was very hit and miss. And I think the thing that would have maybe helped that is the fact of the matter is they wanted it to be a sitcom. Ultimately, that was the point. They wanted it to be some kind of slice of life sitcom. And she's like, why are we even doing this fight? It should just be about me, Jen, doing lawyers stuff in a sitcom, which is great, but there were only 10 episodes. And I feel like a longer season would have really helped it because most sitcoms have 20, 24 episodes, stuff like that. So when there's a miss of an episode, it isn't felt as much, you know? You have little mini arcs, and that's how sitcoms are built. So if you're going to have it as a sitcom, you've got to structure it like a sitcom. And they were structuring it like an MCU miniseries and then being but it's a sitcom. It felt like they were trying to have their cake and eat it too, which is what you're supposed to do with cake. But I wasn't totally into it. But I still liked it more than Falcon and Winter Soldier and What If, for sure.
I wouldn't qualify this I wouldn't classify this rather as a sitcom. Having seen all 9 episodes, it's not a sick, like, because like every episode is not the same situation. Like it's not, they don't spend enough time in the workplace for it to really be a workplace comedy. That's not saying I didn't like it or didn't like the stuff that it gave us, but I wouldn't call it a sitcom. If they'd spent more time in those like lore things, like the Mr. Immortal stuff and the like Luke Jacobson being sued, like more time there, but they spent so much time away from that.
I don't know. It felt very like case of the week. So that to me read sitcom, and like the half-hour comedy structure, things like that. It felt like they were trying to be kind of goofy and slapstick a lot of the time, and the vibe to me was sitcom, or at least an effort at sitcom, even though they didn't exactly do it. Does that make sense?
Half the episodes were case of the week. Yeah. That's the thing. I wanted more of those case of the week. I loved it when they did it.
Yeah.
I think ultimately what it was trying to do was just troll everybody, and you know, if it wanted to be the sitcom that it purported to be, then it could have done that. It could have just done what it wanted to do, which was tell Jen's story, her low stakes story. But what it was mostly concentrated on was trolling us all and giving us this blood plot that then they went at the end, ha, you all wanted this, but we're not going to give it to you because why should we? This is the story we want to tell. Just tell that story.
Is that becoming like a running thing in Marvel? Like, because like when you phrase it like that, it reminds me of our old friend Boner. Yes. From WandaVision.
Oh, yes. A boner joke. The blood turned out to kind of be a boner joke. You get one per season. You're absolutely right.
But and I like them trolling us. Like that was fun to me when they're like, you were expecting Daredevil this week because we showed you his helmet. I mean, like that. Just when I realized they were doing that, they're like, it's just a wedding episode. Have fun.
Yeah.
Like, that's great.
But I think that's okay. But a whole big plot thread that we all expected a conclusion of, this blood plot thing, and it was kind of cruel to take it, and it's not just the trolls. That's what I was saying at the beginning, that they were trolling. It's all of us as audience members that come into a Marvel show and like to talk about what might happen, pick out clues and draw from the comic books to try and work out, or just talk about what might happen. And then they've just torn it up and laughed at us. And I feel a bit, honestly, a bit aggrieved about that. It's not very nice.
I'm sorry, Kim. The show hurt Kim's feelings. I think we can all agree that as hurt as you are by it, no one is more hurt than the people who watched all 9 episodes, hated every second of it, but their view still counts the same. Must be rough. So let's move over to some AMA from the chat. But before we do, thank you everybody for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for videos every weekday. Hit that like and that bell. I'm reading off a script. Can you tell? I rhymed. We're doing the rest of this in verse, everyone.
Like Emil Plotkin.
Yes.
Please, I want it. Read to me like it's Dr. Seuss.
Let's see. At 3 p.m. today, if you're feeling some kind of way, check out our Twitch to scratch that itch. We'll be playing Until Dawn all day. What's up?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're playing Until Dawn at 3 p.m. Pacific time, me and Emma Fife on Fandom Twitch, twitch.tv/fandom. Be sure to check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have a review for Werewolf by Night coming up. I know I watched that and thought it was delightful, so I can't wait to hear what everyone who is hired to talk about it has to say. House of the Dragon will get another review after the season finale. Plus, the Honest Trailer and Honest Trailer commentary for it will be coming soon after. So those are our announcements. Let's do our AMA. James Bunt wants to know, did Jen break the multiverse? What do we think?
I mean, Loki broke it pretty hard on his show.
That's fair.
Maybe Jen broke this universe.
I guess that's the point of the multiverse, is some of them can be broken, I guess, and you can just rock with the others. Do you think so, Kim?
So.
You don't think so?
I don't think it's broken it, but I do want to know whether the whole blood plot was erased.
Kim, I appreciate how upset you are.
You're really
about
upset
that.
about the blood thing, yeah. I respect it. It shows that you care, and I really love that. I already knew that you did, but for you to be this hurt, it just shows how deep those feelings. Right, it's the still rivers run deepest, you know.
Yeah, that is it, baby. I'm crying on the inside.
Rendered City Update Channel wants to know: would you hire Jen to represent you?
Hell yeah.
No.
Again, the room is divided. Zach, why do you say yes?
She does the work. Like, I know she's gonna put in the time and the effort.
Kim, why do you say no?
Well, I would say the opposite. And she's been very distracted. This whole series, I get, maybe now, because she seems sorted. She's in love, maybe, or maybe she's just sleeping with her friend, with benefits. But yeah, it's left us with this impression that she's now sorted and ready to take on the legal world. So maybe I would now.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's grown as a lawyer, but having seen her work and her lack of research on previous cases, I'm still a bit skeptical. But ladies helping ladies, I guess. Rendered City Update Channel also wants to know, what MCU character do you think is most likely to be in court in a She-Hulk season 2?
Ooh.
Which may or may not turn out to all be a dream, according to the writer's room we saw. My least favorite trope. Let's do it.
I want to see Jessica Jones have to come into court.
Yeah, let her be silly. I agree. Let's let Kristen Ritter go back to her Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23 roots. Let her be funny.
But even if you play her straight, like, let her be the straight man in the scene where she's just, like, playing it exactly the same. Like, not the light Daredevil that we got, but, like, Jessica Jones, just dark and gritty. And then Jen just have big smiles and happy to be there.
I think Jen should hook up with her, too. I think anytime a legacy character shows up, she should hook up with them. Kim, what do you think?
Yes, now you've mentioned the Netflix series. I'm thinking The Punisher, because that is even grittier. That would, but not change his tone. I don't want him to integrate tone-wise. I want to see how that would work.
Absolutely.
I have some anger stuff from the war, and Jen's like, I love this whole vibe you've got going on here. Maybe I'll take you to the tailor. He can work on the skull motif a little bit.
Jenna James thinks we're going to see Star-Lord, which I think would be a fun pull, as much as I am loath to see.
What's his legal trouble?
People. Everything.
He gets a mention, doesn't he, in this episode?
He does, and Todd is dressed like him. He showed up. I'm like, why is he dressed like Star-Lord? He had the jacket. He was doing the whole thing.
Well, we identified that he was a collector last week, didn't we? So maybe that is Star-Lord's jacket. Maybe he's bought it.
Do you see? I'm not making that up.
Oh yeah, I totally see it.
Maybe he carries.
He's like Disney bounding.
He totally.
Oh, great. Well, he loves a cowl neck, he's got the Star-Lord look, but he's making it his own. I really appreciate that. He's owning it.
It totally tracks that he would be like into Star-Lord and be like, no, everything about Star-Lord. Like that guy, everything behind him, like, I approve.
Star-Lord does seem like he would be a favorite for this guy. I agree. Like, that tracks for me with Todd. Kevin Wright says, and I don't know how true this is, but I'm going to read it because it's funny. Kevin Feige almost vetoed the robot design because every design they showed him had the baseball cap, and he said a robot wouldn't do that. I love the idea of coming to Kevin Feige and being like, this is you as a robot, and showing infinite, totally different designs, and all of them are wearing baseball caps. That's so funny. It wasn't a question, it was just a comment, so let's go to a question again. Zeno Hour wants to know, what are our thoughts on the Marvel delays? They announced a bunch of delays recently. Are we disappointed? Does that make us nervous for the upcoming phase, or does it maybe make us optimistic?
Give them more time. Give the teams more time. It also suggests to me that Blade is way more important to the overall MCU than we thought.
That tracks. That would be a really solid reason why everything would be delayed, because we know they've been having trouble with that production. Kim, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, of course, because Blade lost its director, so that makes total sense. And I am optimistic rather than the opposite. You know, and the whole outcry about the VFX artists, hopefully they're addressing that within this as well and giving them more time to work on it. Now, it's something that was parodied in the She-Hulk finale as well, wasn't it? So I think it's a good thing. Get their act together. And also, as someone who does the job that I do, I like a bit more time to get prepared. So
Absolutely. Yeah, these nonstop shows are brutal for people like us.
Yes.
I'm curious, did you guys think that the VFX jokes like landed okay with everything that's been in the news lately?
No.
Oh, an immediate hard no from Kim.
It was a little like they've already moved on, and I laughed at the little like Wakanda sting, but I'm like, yeah, they maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe don't comment on how tight your budgets are.
Yeah, it felt kind of cruel to the VFX people who had been working day in, day out for a team that apparently just kept sending back the design to then make fun of the fact that, boy.
Like, part of me is like, yeah, acknowledge it, but then you have to, it's fine if you make fun of something that's in the past, like a past mistake, if you're addressing it.
Yes, but the mistake was actively being made while they were making fun of it. So maybe if they had treated the VFX artist much better next season and then made fun of it, then that would be different. But yeah, I agree. I think the timing, it's comedy is tragedy plus time, and we don't have that time factor yet. We just don't. So, all right, everyone. Final thoughts. How would we grade She-Hulk? We can do a letter grade. We can do it out of 10. Follow your bliss, baby. Let's go. Kim.
I'm gonna go 5 out of 10.
Okay.
And that because of all the things that I said, it was hit and miss. It was probably half of it was good and half of it was bad, and therefore 5 out of 10.
All right. That's solid reasoning. Zach?
Just to make things confusing, I'm gonna say B+.
Whoa. Pretty good.
But yeah, I don't know. I'd probably say like B+, 8 out of 10 for me. I was always gonna be.
I can't stress that enough. An 8 out of 10 is a B-, and I cannot stress that enough.
Well.
Live your bliss, baby.
You live your bliss, but live it accurately.
8.5, is that a B+?
It's a B.
All right. I don't know what to tell you. I haven't studied math in a long time. I went to art school. For me, it was just I was always going to be a sucker for this show because, again, like I've said, she's one of my favorite characters, and any of those scenes that like where they were dealing with the minutia of legal stuff in the Marvel universe, it's just like it was great. There were a few things that missed for me, and I'm still on the fence with the fourth wall breaky stuff. Like in this episode, like I either love it or I didn't like it. I won't say hate, that's too strong a word, but like, and it's one of the two. I'm not in the middle. But I have not yet decided how I feel about fully how I feel about the.
There are two wolves inside of you.
Both
of them have mixed feelings about She-Hulk.
But overall, like, this is a show that I will rewatch and have fun rewatching. So that's why I give it a higher grade.
That's fair. That's fair to me. I say I'd give it a 79%, a crisp C+. I think, marking it down for that absolutely goddamn awful season premiere. Truly hated that so much with my whole body, with all my bones. Honestly, I would not have kept watching the show if I hadn't been obligated to for work. So I am glad that I'm here with all of you lovely folks, because then I got to enjoy this show. But I would have been immediately not coming back after episode 1. So that really tanked it for me. And then I felt the pacing for the show. It was a show that needed a few more episodes. And having just like shoehorning a couple bottle episodes that wound up really not mattering right before the finale kind of like messed up the pacing for me. So I feel like if they can get the tone consistent next season, if they can maybe get eke a few more episodes out of the MCU's presumably extremely tight budget, as far as I can tell from watching this show, it seems like they've maybe got a couple nickels to their name to rub together. But if we could do that, then I think that would be solid. And you know what? 79% C's get degrees, baby. Let's get that second season going. If there's a second season, will you watch, Kim? If you're not obligated for work, will you still watch?
I will, because it was light entertainment as well, and it was another show that I think is brilliant or very, very good is Andor. But it's also bringing me down every week in this.
Yeah, it's a bummer of a show, isn't it?
It's so realistic. It so parallels real life, and it brings me down every week. And She-Hulk is light and uplifting, so I will return to it.
Zach, I imagine I know your answer, but might as well ask anyway.
I'm in. I'm in for season 2. Like, what can I do to help, Marvel?
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I agree. I would definitely watch a season 2. Andor, which we do have reviews of every Wednesday, just FYI, on this channel. Please check them out. Everyone has a lot to say about Diego Luna's beautiful face, and then presumably the rest of the show as well. I think that's all we've got for today, unless I am mistaken. Ryan, you want to show the puppy one more time? That would be a no. A silence.
Oh.
Silence from the puppy. Here,
we get to see the puppy
shoot him a
again,
message.
but the audience doesn't get to, and that feels like we're stealing
for
from
the
them.
Puppy. I'm sending him a Slack because this is a business, and we Slack.
I would show you my dog who's down here sleeping, but I'm not disturbing her. So
Oh, totally fair. Totally fair. You don't want to
Another
disturb
time.
a sleepy doggy. All right. Well, Ryan has.
Would you ask me? There's a 30-second delay, so I'm sorry.
Ryan, bring the puppy one more time. Keiko's gotta take us out of here.
Ryan.
Keiko's gonna bring us home.
While Ryan gets the puppy, I just want to say thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for
This
being
was
here.
fun. It was great to spend time with both of you talking about this stuff and
Where can
nerding
people
out.
find you? You're on
Oh,
Twitter.
yeah, Twitter, Instagram, that Zach Wilson with a CH.
Perfect.
That one. Yeah.
Amazing.
Got the puppy in the chat.
All right.
Marvel Movie News fans.
Some puppy action. Keiko would like to thank everybody for watching and would like to remind you all that a hate watch still counts for the algorithm. God bless. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Say bye, Keiko. Do an
Goodbye.
outro, Keiko.